evening, everyone. This is Wired News. We have a new segment which we call I Am Ready. Rainy seasons are coming up and we have been experiencing heavy rains from time to time. What else do we know about rainy season? Yes, it's also flood season. How do we prepare for it? What should we do during a typhoon hit? And what do we do after a typhoon landfall? We have Joseph at the De La Cruz Residences to tell us more about it.
Thank you, Emily. Right now, we are in the house of the De La Cruz family to see their preparation for the upcoming typhoon. Good day! Since it is near the typhoon season, what are your preparations in terms or in case of floods and typhoon landfall?
We are preparing an emergency kit, as it says in Genesis 6:21, to have enough food for the family when a typhoon hits.
We are also making an evacuation plan and we're discussing it with our family members here.
Okay, so what are the things included in your emergency kit?
First, we'll be having some food for 3 days, at least 3 days, and water supply. And we'll be having some emergency lights. And some beddings and clothing. Okay, let's put it aside. And we'll be having some hygiene materials, toilet paper,
Okay.
and the rest of the hygiene materials, and communication devices,
Okay.
cell phone, and don't forget to bring a charger. And most importantly, to have your documents, very important documents, to be placed in a waterproof case. And your first aid and medicines. Lastly, we'll be having Swiss knife and a whistle.
Okay. So I guess those are a lot of things. Thank you, De La Cruz family.
You're welcome.
When public storm signal number 3 is being declared, families are asked to evacuate from low-lying areas to move to higher ground and to stay away from riverbanks and coastline areas. For us to be updated on the common flooded areas, we can check the website of Pag-asa and view the flood information tab to see the 18 major river basins and the latest flood monitoring advisory. We can prepare batteries and power banks that will meet our needs in case of power outage. We can also have every household member to have flashlights with extra batteries and enough non-perishable food and water. We can ask help from the authorities during worst-case scenarios. Our national emergency hotline is 911. We also have a trunk line for National Disaster Risk Reduction Management Council, or NDRRMC, which is 911-5061-265. Here in COP, we also have our emergency numbers. Before a typhoon landfall, a household should be prudent and wise enough to know when there is a typhoon and act accordingly in preparation. It is not a great sign if we see a family like this. We need to stay calm and alert during the typhoon landfall. Be updated with the latest news through TV or radio. And most importantly, we need to stay inside the house. As it says in Isaiah chapter 4 verse 6, it will be a shelter from daytime heat and a hiding place from storms and rain. It is best to always check our surrounds. Avoid touching electrical equipments when we are standing in floodwater. And avoid areas where electrical posts and wires are submerged in flood to prevent live wire incidents. We are advised not to cross streams or walk through flooded areas to avoid diseases such as leptospirosis. Flood waters may be contaminated with animal urine, which can cause the said disease. If cases are needed for us to stream through flood waters, we have to wear protective clothing. We don't want to be that family who is always in panic during a typhoon landfall or flooding. If your house was flooded, know when it is safe to move around. As it says in Genesis chapter 8 verse 11, this time the dove returned to him in the evening with a fresh olive leaf in its beak. Then no one knew the floodwaters were almost gone. Check also for damages inside and outside our homes. And be cautious with live wires or outlets immersed in water. Be on the lookout also for dangerous animals that might have entered your house, such as snakes. We are also to help our fellow brothers and sisters in Christ, particularly the elderly. And lastly, ask help from neighbors and authorities if needed. Families were made aware of different ways to cope after a typhoon hit. But it seems like not all of them are following what is being reminded to them. That's all the update we have here. Remember to stay alert but don't get yourself hurt. I am Joseph, reporting for Ward News. I am ready. Back to COP Main Studio.
Thank you, Joseph. We had an informative I Am Ready segment here in Wired News. Let us not forget that the Lord remains in control over the storm. As it is written in Psalms 29 verse 10, the Lord sits enthroned over the flood. The Lord sits enthroned as King forever. And that this same God will never leave us nor forsake us. This has been Emily, reminding everyone, be wired and be blessed.